Yes, tomorrow we'll do that. Tomorrow. Now, as you can see, the car is plugged in, but if you notice the actual flashing bit, it basically means that it actually isn't charging. I have it set to a charge timer. It's about 10:30 in the evening at the moment. Basically, what I just want to try and do is, if we look at the app, it's saying it's plugged in and not charging. I should be able to actually go battery. Charge now. Yes. Let's go and see if it actually does anything. And it just went on standby by the looks of it. So I'll have to keep an eye out and see if this actually works. I guess not. Good afternoon, folks. It is a rather dull and misty Friday afternoon, and today is the day that Zoe is going in for her annual service. And when I say service, it's probably more of a checkup rather than actually a lot of physical work, which basically means one of two things. One, I have to drive to my Renault dealer, which is about a 50-60 kilometer journey. And two, it gives me a chance to actually reflect on a year of electric car ownership. So, highlights of the year. I've done some great journeys that I, in all fairness, probably wouldn't have done if I was still driving a petrol car. Most notably my dash around Ireland in 4 days, the 29 counties in 4 days. That was great fun. And of course my trip to my parents in Holland. For you guys who haven't actually seen the episodes, go back a few. They're quite long, but they're entertaining. At least I think they are. Anyway, any low points? Not really. I've had one occasion where the infrastructure has let me down, and has let me down to the extent that I got stuck in Newcastle West, as you saw in the previous episode. Other than that, I can't really say that I've had any low points. So how's the car holding up after a year? Pretty good, actually. One thing that I had noticed literally, I think about a few days back, was that the blue tint on the Renault badge is starting to peel off around the edges. Now, this is a common problem with those badges, so I'm not entirely surprised to see it. Slightly disappointed because it's a nice feature to have a big huge Renault emblem that has a slight blue tint over it. It looks really, really nice. But that's peeling off. Other than that, the car has 2 dents. Sadly, one is done by myself, and the other one is done by a stone hitting the bonnet. But hey, that's average car usership. It's not particularly an electric thing. It's not particularly a Renault thing, so can't really blame him. The car wear and tear on the inside is going fine. There's not any immediate scuff marks or anything that's wearing down excessively. But you wouldn't expect after a year. The seats are holding up. The only sort of scratches I've noticed interiorly is in the boot, because for some reason Renault decided that the inside of the bonnet has a huge metal, like a plateau when you come in. Huge. It's a few inches, or about 10 centimeters. It's not covered in plastic or anything like that, so it's very likely to get scratched if you're carrying something heavy, or if you've got say a dog jumping in and out of the boot. Then you're probably going to see scratch marks on that. Doesn't bother me in particular. The one thing I have noticed in this car is that I am having a little bit of brake squeal when I do a forceful brake, particularly on a hill, going down a hill specifically. And I have a feeling it's one of the front brakes. Now, considering I do a lot of my commute to the hospital where I work, though not very long, has a few good hills in it, as well as a lot of speed bumps, is the word I'm looking for. And basically, as a result, the actual suspension and indeed I would imagine the brakes are under a bit of pressure. The car is relatively heavy for its size due to the heavy battery pack, so I reckon those kind of components are probably under more pressure than what they would be in a normal car. I don't like the way I said normal car there. ICE car, as it's known, an internal combustion engine, because this is a perfectly normal car. It's just not a conventional car. I suppose I should say the word conventional. So I was kind of a little bit disappointed when I started hearing it, although it seems to have gotten less in the last while, so it may have just been some dirt or something along that line. But I'll ask the guys to check it out anyway. The service itself, according to my dealer, should only last about an hour, because pretty much the only thing you need to do is just check it over electronically, which is plugging it into some computer, I would imagine, rotating the tires, maybe giving me like a new air conditioning filter or something along that line. Other than that, there is not a lot that they need to do, so I was not expecting it to take long. An hour kind of took me by surprise. I was expecting it to be half a day or something like that. Other than that, it's been great. I can honestly say I would never go back to a conventional car with an internal combustion engine. I don't think I would. A plug-in hybrid perhaps, depending on what the car is. But I don't think I'd ever go back to a full internal combustion engine. Even if I were to get a second car, I would probably go for something smaller, ideally full electric, plug-in hybrid if needs be. But I wouldn't go back to something completely 100% conventional. It's just not worth it. These cars are so easy to drive, so easy to maintain, very well spec'd, modern. They actually make pretty much any conventional car feel like a steam engine, to be blunt. I'll see what I can do with regards to the actual service. If I can actually film something of it, that'd be great, but I sincerely doubt they'd let me do that. The one thing I also want them to actually check out is this car has a battery rental, or battery lease as it's known, which guarantees the battery to always have a capacity of over 75%. Now, I haven't noticed any degradation in performance, but I would suspect that I'm not at 100% battery capacity. What I would like to know from them is what the actual battery capacity is, because even though I'm paying for a battery lease, I have no way of actually finding out what the battery capacity is. The only way for me to find out is to actually pay Renault to check, which I will do. So we'll see what they say. So I'll talk to you guys when either during or after the service. Bye now. So I am on my way back. Sadly, as you can tell by the lack of footage, they weren't actually allowing me to film anything. Actually, I wasn't even allowed to actually go into the workshop. But I suppose for health and safety reasons, we can understand that. But on the plus side, the service went absolutely brilliantly. Nothing wrong with the car. They rotated the tyres. The tyres are doing very, very well. The grand total cost of the service was €90. Now, that's the full service, rotating of the tyres, and they actually had a mandatory update from Renault on next, what do they call it? Next customer contact, I think was the next time I actually was in with the car. You should do this update. It's basically an air conditioning update, which I think I've read about online to say that apparently, depending on certain conditions, the air conditioning will blow very cold air into the cabin, which of course is not really, well, it is kind of what you want to have the car to do, but apparently the heating itself wouldn't actually heat the car properly or something like that. I don't know. I'll look it up. But I am very, very happy with the €90. I think that's an absolutely great value service. It was done in, let's see now, I arrived at the dealer around 3:15, so I'd say they took the car at around, say, 3:30, so it took an hour, which is great. I mean, normally when you get a car serviced, it's at least half a day. Yeah, just an hour of having a read of something, surfing the internet, having a cup of tea, and then you come back to a freshly serviced car. Didn't get it washed, but they did ask me that, and the car is not actually dirty because I actually washed it fairly recently, so there was no point in them actually washing it, so I told them no, it's fine. But they did offer. So yeah, all in all, I'm very, very impressed. Now, the one thing they couldn't do was actually tell me what remaining battery capacity I have in my battery. Apparently, they are not a fully registered ZE service provider as such. The main Renault dealer here in Cork City is the designated one with all the goodies and equipment and the trained staff for electric, the electric work. Any Renault dealer can do the actual service because it doesn't require much. But the actual, anything to do with the battery has to be done in a designated dealer. So I think I might do that sometime. See if I can actually get them to read out the battery capacity for me, because I would love to know a bit more about the actual battery itself. Leaf owners have, of course, Leaf Spy. It's very well known. They're very well known for that. It's a third-party application, and sadly, us Renault owners don't have that luxury. Good morning. It is a grey Sunday morning, and considering I'm off, and a friend of mine and myself are planning a little bit of a long distance road trip for next month, I decided to do a bit of a reconnaissance drive, as you do on a Sunday afternoon, like you're off. Well, Sunday morning actually. It's 20 to 10. The idea for today is that I am going to go and test a few of the charge points in West Cork. As some of you may remember, if not, go look it up. I think it's my third episode. It's my first long distance trip. We went to Bantry, and our plan was to go to Mizen Head. And we ended up driving back through West Cork, meeting charge point after charge point that wasn't working, and nearly ending up running out. I am pretty much going to do the same thing again. It's been a little bit less than a year since the last time I've been down there. In the year, there have been, as you know, one charge point got removed and two new ones appeared in Abandon. There is a fast charger, 43 kilowatt, well, it's a triple standard unit, and there is a normal standard 22 kilowatt charger. The chargers in Clonakilty and Skibbereen which weren't working a year ago, should by now have been repaired to make them Zoe compatible, so I want to try them. And there's also one charge point in West Cork that I've never tried before, done Manway. So my idea is to drive to the newly repaired charge point in Rochestown, County Cork, just outside of Cork City. I've never actually, I think once it worked for my car, and other Zoe owners have always commented on the fact that they could not get this thing to charge. So I'm going to try that. It's been repaired. It was down for a good while. It's been repaired. So I'm going to try it. After that, I'll drive down to the new charge point in Bandon, the fast charger. Try that, make sure that works. Then try the other one in the town centre, see if that works. Drive on to Clonakilty, see if that works. Skibbereen, Dunmanway, and back to Bandon. And then from Bandon home. So that is my little drive. It's going to take me a few hours, I'd say. It's probably about 300-400 kilometres by the time I'm finished. West Cork is bigger than one thinks. But anyway, that is the plan. And I shall film a little bit along the way. Bye now. Well, I don't believe it. It actually worked. So that was my first full charge at Rochestown. And I met up with a friend of mine as well with his little Leaf. And we managed to charge both cars at the same time. It's a little issue. So that was that's good. So the next stop is Bandon, the brand spanking new fast charger over there. I'll also test the 22 kilowatt that is in town. I'll probably have to actually get the coordinates from the smartphone app, because I doubt it's actually in the Arlink. And if there is one in the Arlink, it's probably the old location. So I'll see you guys in Bandon. And we are in Bandon. Done a 82 kilometers so far. My average consumption is fairly okay, mostly due to the fact that I was stuck behind some idiot doing 60 kilometers an hour for a long time. Yeah, so we're going to charge up here. I'm going to charge to full, because the next leg, should none of the chargers work, could be as high as 100 kilometers, which should be fine. But I want to not take any chances. And we are charging, which is good. I just want to show you guys something nice. This particular model actually has very easily accessible meter readings, and as you can see, well, first of all, the car is drawing 42 kilowatt, which is great, and then there's very little AC charges done on this one compared to the DC, and that just goes to show there's a lot more Leafs in this country than there are Zoes. Well, I'm going to add a bit to the total anyway. Now we're done. Excellent, process complete. Nice and shiny. Time to go. Now we are in Clonakilty and charging. As you can probably hear, the battery's starting to get a bit warm, so the fans have started spinning up. And but it's good to know that this is a 22 kilowatt point, and it's functioning. And we are back on the road. That was literally just a 10% top up, not even 10 minutes. It was 10% in 6 minutes, which is what you'd expect at 22 kilowatts. So our next stop for today is Skibbereen. Now Skibbereen is about 30 kilometers from here. It is also the last working charge point before Misenhead. The last time I was there, it was not working and gave a current overload error. Now it is of well, unless they've replaced it. I haven't seen it in a year, so if it's still the same charge point, it is of a model that I don't like using. It's rather old and gives it gives a lot of trouble with this particular car. I also have a weird suspicion it is going to be a single phase 7 kilowatt, but that remains to be seen. Let's get there first and then see if it actually works. Now the battery is getting quite warm, as you'd expect it from, you know, me booting it around West Cork, because I haven't actually driven very economical. I've had the aircon on, I'm driving it exactly the same as you would in a normal car, so I'm adhering to the speed limit, and in areas where I can't go to the speed limit, like here, I'm delayed by traffic as you normally would. So I don't know why people say it's inconvenience to drive an electric car. It totally isn't. So the next stop, Skibbereen. Okay, slight change of plan. Just did a bit of a calculation on how long it would actually take me to get to Skibbereen, test it and come back. It's going to take me a long time. It's going to take me another hour and a half, and looking at my clock, I actually don't have that time. I promised my wife I'd be home at a certain time, so I better keep that promise. So I'm going to try out Dunmanway. So at the moment I'm doing lovely country roads on the way down to Dunmanway. So we'll try out Skibbereen the next time I'm passing. It's not really a necessity as such. I know Bantry works, even though it's 7 kilowatt, but it works. I know Clonakilty works at 22 kilowatt. There's a fast charger in Bandon, so there's enough charge points around here to get me around. If Skibbereen were to work, that'd be good, but it's not really a necessity. So I am going to Dunmanway, which is a lovely West Cork town in the heartland of West Cork, and I have a weird feeling that this road where I'm currently on is going to take me over some very, very nice countryside. Now I'm in Dunmanway. Nice location by the river, by the way. It's one of my Electro Bay units, and I'll guarantee you I will not get that to work, but I'm hoping I'll be incorrect. But I have a feeling it's going to be a single phase 7 kilowatt unit, and I have a feeling it is not going to work here. Well, I love to be wrong every once in a while. It is a 7 kilowatt unit, judging by the time remaining, but it is working, which is great. It's good to know. I heard reports of other Zoe owners not actually being able to get this unit working, which bodes well for the charger in Skibbereen, which will no doubt also be a 7 kilowatt unit, but at least it'll be working. That's good to know. And we are back on the road. I am heading back to Bandon to test the second point up there, because that will be a backup point for the road trip that I am planning with a friend of mine. So should the actual fast charger there not work, then this new one should be it. So yeah, 99 kilometers estimate range left. I think it's about 28 kilometers back to Bandon, so it's not too bad. And we shall see you guys there. Now, right behind me you can see the new charge point here in Bandon. I've just tested it out. It works perfectly fine at 22 kilowatt. It's not at a bad location. The only thing is that it is not marked as EV only and is therefore likely to be blocked. When I arrived, there was actually somebody in there where I'm currently parked, and so I pulled in right next to it on a yellow box in front of this huge lodge. So even if it were blocked, you can park in next to it, so it, you know, should never be unusable as such. But this will be good. It's good to know it's here, and it's good to know where it is. It's right at the start of the main street, so it's nice and centre. So that is me done for today with all my testing. I'm gonna go home. I spent enough of my Sunday trying out electric car charge points. So that's me for today. Bye now.